Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So today's video's topic is going to be a little different than what you might normally see on the channel. This conversation was sparked during one of my live streams, and it really got a good conversation going. And it was essentially about whether or not games are just worse than they used to be, or if expectations have just gotten too high nowadays. And this conversation on my stream lasted like 30 minutes. And it really got me thinking, and I thought you guys would maybe be interested in hearing and having the same discussion in the comment section. So, as always, if you like the video, hit the like button, as it really does help the channel out. And this is going to be one of those videos where I would really like to see some of your guys' comments. So, as you're listening to the video, maybe pause it, type some things, that sort of thing. So, one thing that I want to get out of the way first is that we're mostly going to be talking about whether or not FPS games are just a lot worse nowadays. I will include some single-player game examples, obviously, some recent ones at that, just to give some contrast in the conversation. But I kind of want to talk about sort of the industry shift that I think is fairly clear in just sort of the mindset and design language and just the way games have shifted their content delivery. And I would like to start this conversation with something that is relevant to, I think, a lot of the viewers on this channel with Battlefield games. So let's take a look at Battlefield games, for instance. So I think a lot of people that watch this channel probably started playing Battlefield with Battlefield 3. Some people might have played the previous games with, 1942 and 2142 and what have you. But I think Battlefield 3 is a good starting point to try to talk about the progression of, Battlefield as a whole and just whether or not the games have gotten worse. And I think this one is actually pretty obvious. When you look at the progression of Battlefield games, both the content and the quality of the content, as well as the amount of content, has just seen a drastic downgrade. Like, when you look at Battlefield 3, that game had 4 or 5 DLCs, great maps, super high quality, just really it was a flushed out, finished game. Battlefield 4 didn't release well at all. Obviously, the release date of that game was not good, but like I said, that Battlefield 4 also had a bunch of DLC, and is still played to this day, and I would say probably, definitely one of the most beloved Battlefield games of all time. And I think a common theme here is that it just seems like some of these older games had a clearer direction and also, simultaneously, had higher effort put into them, which resulted in higher quality content more often. And I don't really think expectations have changed that much. I just think the quality of these games recently, at least for FPS games, have fallen so low that you can't even meet expectations that were easily met before. Because me personally, I'm not expecting anything crazy with a Battlefield game. Like, I would really like just what we got in those previous games, like, have a decent base game come out, don't do anything crazy, you can work around, different settings and all that. I'm completely fine with it. But you have to make sure that the content that you provide in these games is up to snuff. And that is where people just can't seem to get it right anymore. And I think one of the #1 factors contributing to that is, now at least, in my opinion, it has become more about money and less about producing an actual quality game that has high quality content. And it doesn't make any sense, because if they produced a high-quality game with great content, they would make money anyway. In fact, they'd probably make more money, and people wouldn't even care as much about the microtransactions that you will inevitably put in the game. But this whole industry thing of, like, chasing fads and, adapting your game to something that it isn't, ignoring the community entirely, and just trying to, again, make the game something that it isn't, completely shifting away from what made your game successful in the first place, I think perfectly illustrates that it is more about money than ever before. Because recently, it just seems like every game has to be a BR. Every game has to be like an Escape from Tarkov-esque thing. Like, they have to have some sort of survival game mode. It's like, dude, no, you can have your own game and it can be successful if you just literally satisfy the basic needs of what made the community successful in the first place. Because, make no mistake, before Battlefield 2042 released, if you remember, and I remember it vividly, I remember a ton of people, even very, very highly skilled players were going, oh man, I can't wait for Battlefield 2042 to release, and I miss playing Battlefield 4 with the boys, you know, all this shit. They want a normal Battlefield game. And the fact that the leadership surrounding Battlefield are incapable and out of touch with delivering that experience shows that they're incompetent and that their direction is totally just some industry trend chasing garbage. And I think Battlefield 2042 failing is a fantastic thing because it shows them that people are done with this bullshit, right? And if there's anything that will change EA's mind, it's the fact that EA lost an unfathomable amount of money with Battlefield 2042 failing. Potential profit is what I'm saying. If Battlefield 2042 was good, who's to say how much money they could have made, right? And I think with the hiring and the firing of some leadership positions within the Battlefield franchise and the hiring of new leadership like Marcus Leto and Vince Zampella, it might finally come to a point where games releasing in this state becomes entirely unacceptable. And like I said before, I don't think expectations have gone up a single bit. I think that the products that are being delivered are just so low quality that they don't meet the basic expectations of people anymore. So in my summary, and this extends to other FPS games like Call of Duty as well, games have definitely gotten worse since, you know, say, the best ones in the franchise, let's say. Call of Duty, you know, with Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3, COD 4, that type of era, and with Battlefield, you know, BC2, Battlefield 3, BF4. Games have gotten worse, expectations have not gone up, and games are failing due to delusion and industry trend chasing, money grabbing, no passion garbage. And the best part about FPS games, specifically Respawn games, coming out like they have in the recent years, is that it is unsustainable. And in my opinion, things will eventually change for the better. We might be at the start of it changing for the better now. We will wait and see how the games being developed now release. I could be wrong, but one thing is for sure, in my opinion, it's definitely not sustainable, and something will have to be done. So let me know in the comments, do you think specifically FPS games have gotten worse? Do you think expectations have got too high? Do you have a completely different take? I would love to see them. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hit the like button if you really enjoy the content, and be sure to subscribe. Montage, hopefully Wednesday. Wednesday, I'm crossing my fingers. I'm really excited for it. Hope you guys are as well. I will see you guys in the next one.